The body temperature of a person fluctuates depending on environmental temperature, activity, food, and fluid consumption, time of day, and, in women, the stage of the menstrual cycle. Although the average human body temperature is usually stated at 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, a systematic review of the literature has found normal oral body temperature can range from 91.8 to 100.8 degrees Fahrenheit in healthy adults. With this in mind, it is important to compare body temperature readings to baseline values for an individual. Body temperature readings may reflect the core body temperature, temperature of the internal organs, or the temperature of the body's shell, which is body surfaces which change temperature due to environmental exposure. Typically, the core body temperature is slightly higher than the shell temperature. A person's body temperature can be measured in several ways. Orally, the body temperature can be taken by mouth using either the classic glass thermometer or modern digital thermometers that use an electric probe. The average normal oral temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius. Temperatures taken rectally using a glass or digital thermometer measure core body temperature. Readings are typically 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit to 0.3 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Fahrenheit or 0.6 degrees Celsius higher than the oral temperature. Axillary. The temperature can be taken under the arm using a glass or digital thermometer. An axillary temperature is usually 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.3 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Fahrenheit or 0.6 degrees Celsius lower than the oral temperature. By ear. An infrared tympanic thermometer can quickly measure the temperature of the eardrum, which reflects the body's core temperature or the temperature of the internal organs. Tympanic temperature is 1 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.6 degrees Celsius higher than the oral temperature. Note that tympanic measurements may be impeded by earwax in the ear canal. By skin. A non-contact infrared temporal thermometer can quickly measure the temperature of the skin on the forehead, reflecting the temperature of the blood in the temporal artery. The forehead scanner temperature is usually 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit, 0.3 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Fahrenheit or 0.6 degrees Celsius lower than the oral temperature. Body temperature may be abnormal due to fever, high temperature, or hypothermia, a low temperature. Fever is indicated when body temperature rises 1 degree or more over the normal temperature of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or 1 degree over the individual's baseline temperature.
Perfect.
Hypothermia is defined as a reduction in body temperature below 95 degrees Fahrenheit. You may need to convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit temperature readings. To convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit equals the degree in Celsius times 1.8 plus 32. To convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, Celsius equals the degrees in Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 1.8. The body's thermoregulatory efforts are coordinated by a number of different centers in the brain, most important of which is the hypothalamus, a region located in the base of the brain just above the pituitary gland. Input to these brain centers comes from thermoreceptors located within the brain itself. Their receptors, known as central thermoreceptors, are important because they monitor the temperature deep within the body, known as the core temperature. Other thermoreceptors, called peripheral thermoreceptors, are located in the skin and detect more variable temperatures found at the body's surface. Output from brain thermoregulatory centers is transmitted by neurons to various effectors that vary the rate of heat production or loss in order to stabilize body temperature. The effectors include sweat glands, which control evaporative heat loss by increasing or decreasing sweat secretion. Blood vessels in the skin, which control conductive and radiative heat loss by increasing or decreasing the blood flow to the skin surface. And skeletal muscles, which control heat production through shivering, involuntary contractions that generate heat as a metabolic byproduct. When the core temperature changes, brain thermoregulatory sensors attempt to compensate by sending appropriate commands to these effectors. How body temperature is maintained within the normal range. The body temperature normally has a set point of 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. During exposure to ambient temperatures between 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, the human body is within its thermoneutral zone. When the environmental temperature is within the thermoneutral zone, alteration of blood flow through the skin is enough to stabilize the core body temperature. Blood vessels near the body's surface constrict to conserve body heat when the temperature is too cold. This process of decreasing blood vessel diameter to restrict blood flow is called vasoconstriction. The same cutaneous vessels dilate to radiate heat from the skin when the body is too warm. Increasing the blood vessel diameter is called vasodilation. When cutaneous vessels vasodilate, they radiate excess heat from the skin to the external surroundings. When body temperature begins to diverge farther away from the set point, two antagonistic mechanisms can bring it back to a normal value: shivering and sweating. Shivering is induced when the body temperature falls too low and subsides through negative feedback when the temperature returns to normal. Sweating occurs when the body temperature is too high and it diminishes as the core temperature falls. Normal adult body temperature is about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius, but body temperature often varies from 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit or 1/2 to 1 degree Celsius throughout the day. To measure using an oral temperature using a digital thermometer. Before starting, clean the thermometer with 70% isopropyl alcohol pad and allow the probe to dry. Place a new disposable probe cover over the probe before each use. Press the power button. If the next screen only shows degrees Fahrenheit, you will need to calculate and record the temperature in Celsius as well. Place the digital thermometer probe in your mouth with the tip pressed firmly under the tongue. Close your lips around the thermometer and wait until the thermometer beeps. Record the oral temperature in Fahrenheit and Celsius. Push the power button to clear the reading and remove the disposable probe cover. Wipe the thermometer probe with an alcohol pad and return it to its plastic case.